Hi, my name is Glenn Story. I'm the founder and CEO of Patriot Mobile. I'd love for you to learn more about Patriot Mobile, www.patriotmobile.com/Gene V. More importantly, I'd like you to be a subscriber to his show. I mean, his Truthcast is amazing. And if you get to listen to some of them, you'll never go back. I really encourage you to come watch it.
Some people watch opportunities pass by. Others create them. This is for the entrepreneurs, the deal makers, the risk takers, and the relentless few who refuse to settle for average. Corporate Menace Coffee Co. is built for early mornings, late nights, and the moments that define careers. Specialty coffee, roasted to order for you, the person with goals too big for excuses. Work harder, think bigger. Corporate Menace Coffee Co. What are you waiting for? Fuel up now. www.corporatemenace.com.
My next guest is a political strategist and the host of Grassroots Truthcast, who says doing the right thing is not always easy, wise, most profitable, or popular. Doing the right thing has more to do with courage, forged from the principles and beliefs given to you by your parents. Happy to have Gene Valentino here with us today. Gene, good to see you.
Great to be with you both. Thanks for having me.
Well, Gene, let's talk about the Florida primary today. It's a big one, which will decide who the nominees for governor and Senate will be. But first, the Florida legislature approved a redistricting bill that gives the GOP up to 4 more congressional seats. The Republican Party needs to maintain control of Congress in the midterm elections. We've been hearing a lot about that. How does this new bill change the electoral dynamics as we look into these midterms?
Well, it doesn't change it as much as it corrects it, Bo.
Okay.
The problem in the past is that the gerrymandering in the districts took one party and, in fact, one interest group ahead of another and disadvantaged the process. And it's more about due process than it is about one political party over another. The founding fathers never intended the breaking up of districts to be based on political interests, race, creed, or color. And so these spider districts that you saw that the Supreme Court had to deal with recently, really, to their credit, they got to the bottom of the problem and solved the main issue, and that is one man, one vote. The term is called coterminous. When I was a county commissioner, we dealt with it all the time. We, every 10 years, had to manage the rebalancing of the 5 districts within the county I served, and to make sure that all of the 5 districts were coterminous to each other, you had to make sure that the population was the same. It wasn't about race and creed. It was about balance, and that's what they got right recently, and I'm grateful.
Coterminous, that is the word of the day. If I were Bill O'Reilly, I would be saying that. I'm going to learn that one. I'm a big vocabulary guy, so I love that one, Gene. Well, let's talk about the Florida governor's race. You got Byron Donalds. He's running for Florida governor, and he's endorsed by President Trump. He calls himself the Make America Great Again member of the House, but he's been plagued by some controversies ranging from civil lawsuits alleging a 2022 grocery store assault to unverified allegations of sex trafficking. Now, this race is one that seems that Byron Donalds has firm control of. And his latest polling, I believe, on RCP is around 45%. He seems well in the lead. So regardless of the alleged accusations, Donalds has amassed $90 million so far towards his race in governor. What are your thoughts on Byron? I think he seems to be in a good place at this point.
Well, you nailed it on the opening. The fact is he's way out ahead on the polls. I've looked at 4 different polls right now. And if there's ever a time we need to be more cautious about the polling, it's now, because they've been all over the place. Yeah. But there's a pattern, and the pattern shows a clear indication that Byron Donalds is ahead. I would call it a weighted average of about 30% over Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins. Great guy. I think he I really wished he had a better chance, because he's very strong supporter of Governor DeSantis, and very much a part of this amendment that we're going to see on property tax changes in the 67 counties of the state of Florida. But to your question on Byron Donalds, he stands out ahead. He's got a solid Donald Trump endorsement. We're in an era where I would say Trump versus DeSantis is represented pretty clearly by a Donalds versus Collins era we're in right now. I think we're going to see the dominance of a more conservative Republican sprint to the finish line when we get to the final election. Whether Florida Republican dominance can be challenged in November or not, I think this will be a clear indication of the effect of the DSA and the Democrat Party's long-term influence as a springboard throughout the nation. I said differently, I think the Donalds race will set into motion a precedent of curtailing DSA activity nationwide.
Oh, it's interesting you say that. So you think Florida might be the tinderbox, so to speak, of a backlash against the DSA, showing how a state that I suppose used to be purple now seems to be firmly red can push back against the DSA agenda, would you say?
Yeah, because I don't see Florida's voters reacting the way the New York City voters reacted.
Well, Gene, let me ask you why, because that's a great point. If so many New Yorkers and Northeasterners have come down to Florida and made Florida their little New York, and I see it all the time. I hear, look, I mean, I'm married to one, but they're all down here. So why are they not taking the New York politics and bringing that mentality here? Why are we not seeing a Mamdani-like move down here in Florida if so many New Yorkers come here? Is it because they're getting away from it and they're willing to abandon those principles?
In government like ours, some people say, hey, Bo, how do you want me to vote? Other people in government say, hey, Bo, I'd like you to vote this way, and here's why. In New York, you've got a lot of people looking to get a ring in their nose and follow someone else's direction so as not to step on the feet of some of the precedents, the union boss deals, and a lot of the things that are pre-established and pre-existing long before this current elected run. Said differently, I think America is seeing a transition, a transformation between those that want to follow and those that want to lead. And those that came to Florida said, whether I'm a leader or not, I've had enough in New York. We're not doing it that way anymore, and I won't pay for it, whether it's out of my checkbook or out of my compliance through regulation by the state and the federal government, not to mention local. And that's the Mamdani paradigm that we're dealing with. That will change. I think the DSA is going to be out the back door as fast as they came in the front door.
Wow.
I think back on point in Florida, there's a few key DSA races, primarily in South Florida, that are going to evidence themselves in this primary. And in the next 24, 42 hours, based on how fast the vote is tallied, you and I will be watching a transition back to a normal election process, because we're going to look for a normal electorate that will not be dictated to like this, but rather listen, an electorate that will be listening to the merits of good leadership. And that's what we're going to find out about this election. This election, believe it or not, and I think Florida is pivotal, will be transitional to the rest of the nation getting its cue to get on board.
I hope so, Gene. I hope so. I mean, what you're saying is so smart and so right. I just wish that the people of New York, the good people of New York, the good people of California would listen and look at Florida as an example. You can go somewhere and you can abandon those types of policies and find prosperity, find strength, find freedom, find choice, all the things you want, because you're right. It is setting the tone for the nation if they would just wake up and pay attention. But I hope you're right that the DSA will go out as quickly as they come in. That's the point of the of your talk today. So thanks so much, Gene Valentino. Thanks so much for being with us.
Glad to be with you, Bo. Thank you.
Thanks, Gene.
Relationships matter because people buy people, and that's why I buy Eddie Zarin Insurance of the Zarin Insurance Agency in Pensacola, Florida. A family-owned business with over 50 years in the business, and they treat people the right way. From homeowners insurance to contractors insurance, condo insurance, commercial insurance, all the different coverages that are out there, and of course auto insurance, they've got you covered. They worry about you first. You're more than a policy number. You're a person who they're watching out for, not when the sun is shining, but after the hurricane has left. If you want real service with real savings, contact Eddie Zarin at the Eddie Zarin Insurance Agency. www.zarininsurance.com. Give them a call today. You'll be glad you did when you do.